Hey, what's up? It's Philip and welcome back to another video. Today I prepare for you a beginner-friendly tutorial that every beginner can follow very easily step by step. I will explain everything, but let's first see how it looks and let's jump straight into creating our environment. First of all, let's create a project. Go to Games, and over here we can choose between first person, third person, and so on. So let's click the third person, and don't worry about over here about the starter content and ray tracing. Make sure to disable this so we can save some space on our project. We can always import starter content, which consists of assets, materials, and textures that we can use, but we will use the super high quality textures and assets, so don't worry about this. Just name your project, for example, Desert 1, and hit create. We are now in a third person template. Let me just show you quickly how to move around. If you play FPS games, W, S, A, and D will move you around, but you need to hold right mouse button. So hold right mouse button and see around. And if you go W, A, S, and D, you can move around the level. With Q and E, you can go up and down and checking out the level around. But just make sure to hold the right mouse button. Also, if your camera is too fast, this is very important, you can, while moving around, just move your mouse wheel down and it will slow down, and if you go, it will be very fast, as you can see. And if you have a problem, so you, for example, you go over here too far from your level, to get back very easily, you can click anything in your level and press F, and it will go back to your asset. So if you just get lost, don't worry, it's okay. If you're just starting out in Unreal Engine, don't worry about anything over here. I will explain you everything as we are working on our project. And this way you will have exactly the knowledge that you need. So the first thing you want to do is go to File and click New Level. And choose the basic. Click Create. And now we have a nice and clean level. So make sure to save your level, because Unreal doesn't automatically save your level. So go to File and click over here, Save Current Level. And this map you can call Desert. Desert is desert. Click OK, and you can see over here in this content browser, you can see that now this showed up. This is our map. This is our level. And on the left side, you can see that we have all the necessary files, like content, characters, and if you want to play your level, just hit up here, play this level, and you can move around your level. And to stop, just hit escape on your keyboard. And we are back in the business. So what we want to do now? The first thing, we want to create a landscape for our desert. To do that, we will click on our floor, just click on it, and you can see on the right side that we click on a floor and it says the floor. It's selected. If we go hit over here, player start, it will select our player start. If you click floor, we click floor. So we don't need actually that floor, so just hit delete, so we have this empty space. And if you accidentally hide everything, just make sure to press G on your keyboard to show everything up. If you don't see the arrows and the scaling, I'll show everything later. Now let's go create a landscape. To create a landscape, just go here on the selection mode and hit landscape. And now over here you can see create new. Make sure that enable these edit layers, because we will use few layers that will create one road, and on the other layer will be our landscape, our rocks, our mountains, and so on. So we need this to create one road. Material, we will add material later, and you can see everything over here. You can keep it as it is. So just hit create, and as you can see, we have our landscape. And you immediately got this brush, okay? So you can play with this brush to make some mountains. But first of all, let's undo this by Ctrl Z. Now we want to add a material to our landscape. And the best and easiest way to add a material, and it's free and you can use in all your games. If you're selling your games, you can use these materials without any restrictions, is to go to bridge over here. If you don't see the bridge, you can go over here and click over here, Pixel Bridge. and you need to just sign in. And when you log in, you can see that we have 14,000 assets to choose from. So we'll go with the surfaces over here on the left side, and you can just type in up here, desert. Over here, we can choose the sand for our desert. Also, if you want to keep everything in the theme, we can also go with the collections over here on the left side and go with the environment, natural, and click these canyons of Utah. See, and we already have all the assets needed for our project, which is very nice. And over here we can choose one dry sand, for example this one, and you can go over here down here that says medium, high, and highest quality. You choose the quality that you want to use. Let's go, I will go with the highest quality and hit download. After download is complete, you can see this add, so click it and it will automatically add this texture into our level. So just wait for a few moments for Unreal to prepare your shaders and textures, and we have our texture over here. So let's add this texture to our environment. It's very easy to do. Go back to selection mode, and on the right side you can see the landscape. This is the landscape that we created before. And if you go under the details over here, just scroll a little bit down until you see this landscape material. Now just drag and drop this material to the landscape material, and we have our desert. If I hit play, oops, looks like we have a problem. So what is a problem? Go to the outliner and go and find player start. Click it and press F, as I showed you before, F, to focus on your player start. Over here you can see that our player start is inside of our terrain, so we need to move it up. So move it just a little bit up. And now if I click play, everything works fine. So make sure that your player start is not inside your landscape or inside other assets or other meshes. So we have another problem over here. As you can see, our texture is a bit small and it needs to be a little bit bigger. So to change our texture, just double click over here under the dry sand, and you can see this is our texture. We have lots and lots of information on the right side over here that you can tweak. But we want global tiling and offset, and our tiling to be 0.1 and 0.1. You can just press 0.1, it's automatically 0.1, like this. And make sure to save. And if we go back to desert, you can see that now our desert looks better. If you want to learn more about how to make this look even better, you can check out the channel. Over there you have these height maps, displacement maps, everything that you need to know to make it look better. But this is a beginner level tutorial, so we will keep that away. It will take us 4 days. If I click play, you can see that now our desert looks just fine. Cool. So let's save everything. Just make sure to save your project often, because Unreal Engine can crash sometimes. Okay, the next thing for us is to add one long road. And to do that, we will use this player start. We will go to the end of our level, speed it up, and now slow it down. And it will be road from here to the other way. So we need to move this player start over here. But what if we don't have a player start? If I click and delete player start position, how to play? You can just right click over here and hit play from here, and you will play your game from where you are clicked. Another good thing that I want to introduce you before we start to creating our road is position your screen something like this, and make sure to hit Ctrl 1, and it will save bookmark 1. So no matter where you go, just press 1 on your keyboard and we will go back to our bookmark 1. This is a very nice feature. You can go on Ctrl 2, Ctrl 3, Ctrl 4, and so on to make other positions in your level where you need to work it out. So this is a very, very practical. Okay, let's make that road finally. Go to selection mode over here and make sure go to landscape, and over here under the manage tab, hit splines. Splines are a very, very useful tool, and we will use them for roads. You can use these splines for rivers, for all kinds of things that needs to have some curved geometry. So as you can see on the left side, you can see edit layers. Do you remember when we are creating landscape that I said that you need to have that check mark enabled so we can have these layers? Right click over here, let's create a new layer and let's rename this to be road. We will lock this layer. This will be our environment and this will be our road. So let's lock this and road, right click on it and reserve for splines. So this means that this layer, if you are working in a Photoshop, it's a layer upon the layer of images. So this is similar to that. So click reserve for splines and click yes. So to create a first spline, move your mouse everywhere you want and hold Ctrl and hit left mouse button and you will see this thing. Now move a little bit here and hold Ctrl and press left mouse button and we have something that looks like a road. So we will do this all the way through our level. So you can go up like this and create a road that goes like this to the very end of our level. And we want, of course, to make the road a little bit wobbly. You can see that this road has spline segments. This is this plane over here. And these have control points. These are these control points over here. So if we go and select this control point or this control point and press W on your keyboard, we can move our control point how we want. So let's move this road a little bit like this. Let's select this one and move it here. This one to be here, here, like this, over here, over here, and we can use and stretch it to the end of the level. You can also use the E and R. For example, E, you can use E to rotate your spline like this, and you will use this W, E, and R to scale and resize objects in your level. So don't worry. Okay, let's go back to our beginning. Don't forget that you can hit 1 and go back to the beginning and see your road. So to raise our road a little bit, we need to select all the splines. So select over here on the left side all control points, and you can see this arrow, so just move it a little bit up. And you can see it already creates one kind of a road, which will pop out. You can make it a little bit steeper or lower. I will go with something like this. And make sure that over here under the control points, when you select your control points, the health width to be, for example, 500, so we can make a little bit smaller road. So make sure to save everything and let's check it out. Go to selection and over here let's click play from here. And we can see that our road is looking just fine. Okay, let's go back to our bridge and go to collections. And over here go to environment and go to natural, and you can see this canyons of Utah. And over here you can see that we have lots and lots of assets that we can use for our project. For example, we can use this big desert, for example, this cliff or this cliff and so on. So to use this, I will use the nanite version. So if you go over here and drop down menu, you can choose the quality. The nanite quality is the highest quality, so I will use that. For example, we will choose this desert western cliff layered XL to be large. So select it and you can hit download and wait for the download to finish. But there is a nice feature. If you take it and move it to your desert over here in the tab, you can move it over here in your level. Just put it in your level and press F to focus it. As you can see, this only possesses one side of our asset, which is okay because we are using this for a background mountains. So to move it around, press W and you can see that you can use these arrows to move it around. If you press this in the middle, you can move it like this or you can move it like this and so on. If you go and put it here, you can easily hit it down by hitting end on your keyboard and it will drop down to your level. To rotate it, press E and rotate it like this, and you can see that if I press R, we can scale it. So press R and scale it to be really, really big, like this, and move it to the side. And let's make it a little bit bigger. Move it here and move it a little bit down inside the terrain. So let's to copy paste this, To easily add multiple mountains, you can just hold Alt and duplicate your. Press E to rotate, and you can rotate. You can see it's a bit jaggy, so you can't rotate perfectly. So make sure to disable this snapping to the grid. If you disable this snapping, you can disable snapping with position, location, rotation, size, and so on. So you can see that how now it moves very smoothly. So you can move this right here, and let's add another one. We can close this, go to bridge, and let's add this one. Just drag and drop it to a level. As always, position it like this and make it really big. Drop it a little bit down inside the terrain and move it here. You can see how nicely it transitions between two mountains. And let's go with this one. Let's delete it, move this here. And let's add a third one. This will be this cliff, and we will add it again to our level. Press E to rotate it, R to scale it, and move it over here. You can see how this one has this nice sand over here. So we have this nice so-called valley. Let's go and select the first one, hold the control on your keyboard, select the second one, hold control on keyboard, select the third one, and now what we want to do is hold Alt to copy this here and press E, to rotate, and W to position it also over here. Okay, let's see if everything works fine. Okay, this works fine. This is also fine, and this is good, as you can see. And we have our valley over here. Okay, let's hit play from here and see how it looks. So if you look over here and over here, this valley looks just fine. If you want to see a broader view, just press F11 on your keyboard. Escape, F11. Get rid of these shadows. You can always Ctrl L and move your sun around. And I think it looks good now. Okay, you can move this a little bit inside. And this one also inside. Okay, we'll save this. And let's now move everything and let's duplicate all these things. So we need to duplicate our landscape and or our desert cliffs. So select landscape, shift on your keyboard to select everything, and hold Alt on your keyboard and move this here. And it will copy everything, as you can see. You can position this so it looks a little bit better. And you can position this one here, and it looks just fine. And if we now go play from here, you can see how long and open is our landscape. And now let's add some stones. To do that, we will use a paintbrush tool. So go over here on the selection mode and go to foliage. This foliage tool is used to paint foliage, and we will paint foliage with this. But also we can paint anything we want. So we will paint mountains because we want to save time instead of putting everything by hand. So go to bridge. So let's add, for example, this one, this desert western scattered rock. Just hit download and hit download over here for this one. And let's download this one, and we can download this one also. And after all of them are downloaded, you can select the first one, second one by holding Control on your keyboard. So we can add them without going one by one. So hit add, and it will add our assets inside the Unreal Engine and prepare static meshes for it. Okay, after it's done, we go back to selection mode, so I can show you here. If we go under here, you can see the Megascans 3D assets, and we can see all these assets over here. If you want to see your downloaded material, instead going folder by folder, we can click this 3D assets, click this filter, and click this static mesh. And it will show us the static meshes that we use in our project. You can see there is our cliffs and here are our rocks. If we go over here a little bit and drop the rock, you can see this rock is super small, so we will delete it. And we will go to the foliage tool, selection, foliage, and over here we will paint our rocks. First of all, we want to add foliage. So we will add this canyon rock like this, just drag and drop it, and we will have one for now. Make sure that you click on it, okay? And if you go now and over here paint it, you can see that we painted these rocks, but these are really small. So we'll undo this, and we will select our stone, and over here go down and change the size. You can see the scale to be 100 by 100. So if we click, you can see our rocks here, but there are too many of them over here. So we'll undo this, and we will change this density to be 10. And let's paint now. It's a little better, but let's make this brush, okay, undo it. Let's make this 500 in size, and we want to go up here and increase the brush size like this. And if we paint now, it's still too much, so we'll try to change density over here to be 0.1, and you can see how we can nicely paint our stones. So these are a little bigger stones, so you can paint it over here next to the mountain like this, and from the left side this. Okay, let's now paint a second stone. To do that, we will also go over here under the mesh and find this second stone and drag it here under the foliage. Drag and drop it, and make sure that you don't select this first one, but this second one. So if you paint it, you can see that we have lots of little stones. So as always, try to make them bigger by scaling here 100. Oops. Okay, this is too big. So let's go with a 20. And the density is still too much, so we go 0.1. And if you want to delete these things, just hold Shift and left mouse button to clean everything out. If you see these shadows, just move away. And let's paint it like this. You can see that we now can put these rocks on our level. But these rocks are not, we want them to be a little bit inside of our terrain. So to do that, we will undo everything. And you can see this Z offset. So let's say that Z offset minimum to be -50. So if we paint, you can see that our rock is a little bit inside our terrain, okay, which is nice. And we can now paint our rocks like this. So we have another layer of the stones. And you know the drill now. Let's go with another rock. This will be this sandstone. So let's drag and drop it to our foliage, and make sure to only select the new sandstone rock, and density to be 0.5. So size, let's go with size to be 50, and paint with these rocks over here. We can paint it also over here. Okay, and now we can also add the first one. So make sure to deselect this and select the first one, select it, and make it a little bit smaller, like 50 by 50. And you can paint this, and density to be 1. And we can paint all these same things to save our computer memory, like this. Okay, let's save now everything, Ctrl save, and go back to selection, and let's hit play from here. And we can see our mountains and our rocks in the background. So the next thing we want to do is to add some grass. So let's go to bridge, and over here, Canyons of Utah, let's find some grass. Okay, let's go with that shrubs, so we can see the high quality, and just hit download. After download is complete, hit add, and it will add to our dead shrubs over here. And you can see that we have lots of dead shrubs over here with different sizes, different types. So let's go and paint the dead shrubs. Go to selection mode, go to foliage. As you can see, it already added our shrubs to our level, but we don't need them all. So select the first one and select the last one and hit delete. So we deleted our shrubs that we don't want to use from our level, but we want, for example, use this, and this. For example, we want to use only 3 types of shrubs. So select the first one, select the second one and the third one, and now drag and drop them to the foliage type here. Drag them through the foliage and make sure to enable them, but make sure that you don't have enabled these stones. So shrubs are enabled, and if you go and paint, you can see they are here, but they are small, and we have this black shrub problem. This is because we didn't enable the nanite. We will do that later, so I can show you how it works. But we need to select our 3 shrubs like this, and go over here and change the size scale to be, for example, 10 with 20. Okay, let's change density to be 5, and we can see that we have our shrubs over here. So you can now just paint your shrubs over here alongside your road. If you want to remove it, shift and hold it. So we don't want to have these shrubs on the road, just on the side of the road. You can see in the distance how those shrubs are a little bit black. So we can save this and make sure that all these shrubs are selected. Right click on it, nanite, enable nanite, and wait for a little bit. And now we have a nanite mesh which looks super awesome. Okay, let's go back to foliage mode, go to selection and hit play from here. And if we hit play from here, we can see that we have a nice shrubs, we have a nice mountains in the background. And what we need to do is to add some smaller shrubs over here under our road. So let's go to foliage, and over here let's add, for example, this dead shrub. Let's add this dead shrub over here, and make sure that only you can select all, deselect them, and select only this one. And if you paint it, it's a little bit small like this, and make sure that you change this to be nanite. Okay. Let's change the brush size, and let's go down here and change the scale to be, for example, 2 by 2, and we can paint these shrubs over here on our road like this, over here and over here, and try to cover the whole road. And if we go to the selection mode, we can go here and click play from here. And now it looks a little better. Also, we can add some pebbles. Go to bridge, go to 3D assets and type in pebble here. And you can see over here, if you click small stones, so let's download these small stones and click add. And if you go over here, you can see the small stones over here. So let's go back to the foliage tool and let's select them all. Right click on it, hit nanite, enable nanite. And after that, let's add them to the foliage type and make sure that only stones are selected, and select them all with holding shift. And if we go over here and paint, you can see that we have some pebbles over here inside our road. I will go with a little bit paint density to be, for example, 1, so you can see better your stones like here. So let's paint it a bit like here. Okay, we have our pebbles, we have our road. Now let's add some assets like trees and dead logs. Go to bridge and, for example, type in over here this desert western stump dead tree. I will go with a nanite and hit add to add it to the level. We have our tree. If we go embed it over here, drag and drop it and make it, for example, bigger, we can put that tree over here, for example. And we want to also use the paint foliage tool, and we will use the tree for that purpose. So go to foliage and just add your tree over here. Select everything. Make sure to disable everything except the tree. And select your tree. Density to be 1. So it will be from 5 to 10. Like this. And we paint our trees. Density will be a little bit lower. 0.3, and so we can paint and add some dead trees in our level like this. Let's add another type of trees, for example this desert tree log. Hit download, and we can also download this animal skull, and let's select this desert and this skull and click add to project. And let's go back to selection. So over here we will use the foliage tool again. Okay, let's add skulls over here, foliage type, and make sure to select only the skull. And if we paint, we can see the lots of little skulls. That's not what we want. And we can scale this to be 10 by 10, and density to be 1. And if we paint it, you can see it here. And we can also make this Z offset to be -5. So you can drop a little bit inside the road, for example. Okay, and we can paint these skulls where we want them to be. Few skulls here and there, like this. And we go with the tree stump. Another one, we will go here. It's this dead log. We will drop to the foliage. As always, disable everything except the log. Make this density to be 1 and size to be 5. And you can see we just scatter a few of these logs over here. Okay, let's now select our shrub, for example this one. We'll make this a little bit smaller. It will be 5 by 5, and the density to be like 10. So we can add a little bit more of these shrubs next to our road, so it looks better. This, and we can use other shrub. We can use this one, then disable this one, so we can paint with another type of shrub. Paint it over the road again. It's a very tedious business to do this by hand. There is a much better procedure with procedural content generation, which you can check out also this video. That you can use this procedural content generation tool to save yourself a lot of time. Okay, let's now go to the Sketchfab and download some nice and interesting assets. Over here, log into the Sketchfab and find this asset called Desert Runner. And you can just hit over here, download 3D model, and make sure if you use this model to attribute the author, just copy these credits and put it in a YouTube if you are using YouTube. So, and let's download this GLTF. For me, this is the best format because it already comes with the textures glued with the mesh. So it saves us like half an hour or something like that to fixing all these things in Unreal. So hit download. And all you need to do, if you go inside, you can see texture, scene, blah, blah, blah. You go to your Unreal and you go to selection tool and go all the way up under the content. Make sure to this static mesh to disable it so you can see these things better. And make sure to select your content folder and just drag and drop Desert Runner over here. And it says that import is done. So, as we can see, our Desert Runner is here. You can see it says Desert Runner cabin. So select cabin, select wheels by holding Ctrl, the main body, and drag and drop it to the level. And it's a way too big, so right click and oops, and make it smaller. You can disable this snapping also, so you can scale this a little better and move this desert runner here. And if you want to group all these things, I'll go to actor and just click merge actors. Click merge, and this will be under our content. This will be our desert runner. So we can just easily delete this, all these things, and we have our desert runner in our content folder, this one, so we can just drop it here. Make it a little bit smaller so it fits the road. Okay, and we can position it here so we can add a nice touch to our scene. Also, we can add this stone arc, so just download 3D model, GLTF, download, and drag and drop it to the Unreal, hit import, and if you go into stone arc, you can see it over here. So we can drag it here and make it a little bit smaller. Or make it something like this. Okay, we can copy this over here. This we can copy it again over here. We can preview our level by going F11, press G to remove everything, so we can see our level now looks a little bit better. So let's go F11 again and press G to see our commands. We can copy paste this vehicle over here. And make a little convoy, so to speak. We can create these 3 trucks, position them. Let's add another asset. This is an Obelisk, so download 3D model, GLTF. You can go always with the FBX, something like that. Go to desktop, add our Obelisk here, import, and increase it in size. Like this, so we can position it and move it here. Copy paste one over here. We can make it a little bit like this, so we can always copy paste these obelisks over here. You can copy paste it here. Okay, it looks good. Okay, and we can also make this obelisk, make them, some of them a little bit bigger, and you can move them anywhere you want. Okay, this looks nice, but there is a crucial step that we are missing, and that this is creating a mood with lighting and the post-process volume. Nothing fancy. With a few clicks we can adjust the atmosphere of this awesome scene. So let's start it. To create this atmosphere we'll need the post-process volume. So click over here and type in post-process volume and drag it somewhere on your level. As you can see, it has bounding box. So it affects only what's inside the box. We want to affect the whole level. So to do that, we will select our post-process volume and type in infinite. Select infinite extent unbound. Make sure it's selected. You can close this and make sure to type in exposure. Okay, make sure that this metering mode to be auto exposure, and make sure to change this min and max to be the same value. For example, 1 and 1. And you can see that if we go 7 by 7, it will be a little darker, so we can go with 1 and 1 to have a nice atmosphere and to remove the exposure of our level, so we don't, if we go into the darkness, so it doesn't change our eye adaptability. I have a video about the exposure, so you can always check out on the channel, type in exposure, and I think you will be there. And so let's now add our fog, this exponential height fog, increase a bit over here density, and go down and change this volumetric fog, because you can see now our real sunlight will affect our level. So if you click OK, you can see that it affects this yellowish vibe. Go under the extinction scale and you can increase or decrease the extinction scale over here. So we can go add a little, only a little bit. Okay, increase the extinction scale pretty much, but this start distance, you can see that we are now moving the start distance and view distance over here. So play with these effects, for example, like this, and play with the extinction scale. And if you go under the post-process volume again, we can go over here and type in mid. And these mid-tones are crucial for your atmosphere. So go over here under the gain, enable it, and over here you can now add a subtle effect to your level. For example, we can add this a little bit of orange. And over here under saturation, just reduce this saturation a bit, so it's not always too much, so just a little bit. And now we have our level. We can copy paste this and close the view, so it doesn't look into the void. So if we go back to you can see that now it looks nice. I think the fog is too much, so we will reduce this fog over here in the exponential height fog. We will reduce this extinction scale and reduce the fog a bit. So we will add just a subtle effect of the fog like this. And now we can go and save everything and press Ctrl L to play with the sun, so you can find the perfect position. Okay, we are now practically done with our environment. As you can see, if I go F11 to get the full screen, you can see the truck over here. I move it here, and I change a sun with Ctrl L a little bit to move these shadows right here. And if you can see the shadows, so they're glitchy or something like that, make sure that you select your problematic asset, select it and click Browse to Asset, and over here make sure that you right click and enable nanite. This will usually fix the most problems with your shadows. Now let's go and add some cameras and add some sequences. To add our camera, go over here under Add, under Cinematic, and add this Cine Camera Actor. Just drag and drop it to your level, and we can see the camera over here. But this is a very hard way to position your camera. The easiest way for me is to pilot our camera, but first let's select it and rename it to be Camera 1, like this. And now let's go click right click over here and click Pilot Cam 1, and you can see that we are now piloting our camera. So we can easily go over here and position this camera over here, and we want our sequence to go from here to the first or second arch over there. But let's first fix some camera. You can see that the aspect ratio is wrong, so, or if you want to use it. So to change some camera properties, select your camera. Over here choose the 16:9 DSLR and go down under the focal length, make sure to change it to 22. For example, to have this nice wide shot. After that, go to the crop settings and choose over here 2.39 and go up here and change this squeeze factor to be 2, like this, to push it a little back, this scene, to make it more wide. Practically our camera here is done. We just need to position it over here. And now we want to add a level sequencer. This is where we are editing our movie. So go over here and click Add Level Sequence. Name this sequence 1 and make sure that it's in a content folder. Hit enter and we have a sequencer. All you need to do is to add your camera to the sequence. So find your camera and drag and drop it to the sequence, like this. And we have our sequencer. So to move these things around, make sure to select your camera 1. You can reduce this so you can see this transform. Make sure that under transform you can just click this Add New Frame, and now it will remember this position. And we want the second position, so we go over here. So we change this, we move this to the end of the sequence. and we want our sequence to end over here, for example. Make sure that everything is moved here and click add transform point, and if I move this, you can see how our camera is moving. If you click play, you can see how your sequence will look like, but you can see that it's slow, then going a little bit faster, and then slowing again. What if you want to do this to be completely linear? To do that, go over here under this transform, right click on the transform track and go to edit, and you can see this cubic, and so on, and we want this to be linear. So if you change this to be linear and hit play, it will move it at the constant rate. Okay, nice. Make sure to save these things. And let's add a second camera for a second shot. You know the drill, it's the same. So just go over here, go to Cinematics, Cine Camera Actor, drag and drop it, rename it to be Camera 2, but what is a better solution? To preserve our options, we can delete this and just hit this camera, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, so we can copy it. And as you can see, it already named this camera 2. This second camera will preserve all the properties from the first camera. So we go over here, go to pilot cam number 2, and we want a different shot. For example, we want shot from here to the arch, and to do that we need to add our camera, so you can easily minimize this so you can have more room, and just drag and drop your camera here, and we have a second camera. We want to, as usual, transform things, so go over here and add a keyframe. Okay, now move this to the end and move yourself where you want to position your camera, for example over here, and add another transform point. So you can see that it's moving right here. But you can, for example, you can select the first camera and see how it looks. And you can select the second camera and see how it looks. Okay, let's add a third camera. Select the first camera, hit Ctrl C and Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And we have a third camera with the preserved settings from the first camera. And we need to select our camera, go to pilot cam 3. Let's say, for example, we want to move this from here to top. So to do this, we can go over here like this, add our third camera here, go to the transform, add a new keyframe, move to the end, and go up, 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 and so like this, and add a transform point. And if we go back, you can see how it looks nice. Okay, we have 3 cameras, but it's all complicated here. It's not. We need to use these camera cuts, and this camera cut will be our main track that we will position all other cameras. So you can hold Ctrl to zoom out and use Shift and the mouse wheel up and down to move left and right. Let's say we want over here on the camera cuts, click this plus button. We have camera 1, so we want to camera 2, camera 3. So you can see its camera here, 3 is here. So move it around until you see the camera 1, and make sure to add camera 2, of course. And now we can see that we have camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. So let's position it. You can move this camera 2 to be under the camera 2. This will be camera 1. And move this red line, for example, here. So we can have this one, for example, over here. And move the third camera over here. These red and green markers are responsible for the rendering of your movie. So let's go and select it. So everything that is selected between these two, between green and red line, will be rendered as a movie. Over here, like this. So if you click play, you can see, let's press G on keyboard to remove all these things and hit play from here. So we can see our movie. And this is it. This is our movie. Very simple to do, very easy to do. There is two ways to export this video. I will recommend you my video that will show you how to export completely your movie when it's done. And you can see other videos on YouTube how to export it, but they will export in lots and lots of PNG keyframes, you know, lots of frames that you need to combine in a program like Adobe Premiere. So if you don't have Adobe Premiere, don't worry, you can always use this video. After that, you can just put it in CapCut or any free editing software and create the ending video. And this is it. If you like this video, please drop some likes and comments below and subscribe for more videos like this. I'm planning to do the idea is to create a sunken temple and to create some space on a planet, some environment on the space, also beginner friendly and easy to do. So have a nice day and see you in some other video. Bye bye.